The sky above Earth had always been peaceful. The stars glittered quietly, far beyond the reach of humanity's everyday life. Earth, with all its troubles and wonders, had no idea that something huge was coming. But that all changed one evening when the first strange signal was received. It started as a soft hum, barely noticeable, coming through the satellite systems of the world's most advanced countries. At first, scientists thought it was just an error, a glitch in the system. But soon, the hum turned into a loud, clear transmission that could be heard all across the globe. The message was simple, but chilling. A deep, robotic voice echoed through every communication channel. "This is the Galactic Empire. Your planet has been marked. Submit or perish." The voice went silent after delivering the message, leaving an eerie stillness in the air. Governments across the world scrambled to understand what they had just heard. Was it a joke? A prank from some secret group? But as the seconds passed, it became clear that this was no joke. A second transmission came soon after, even stronger than the first. "We are not asking. We are telling," the voice continued. "You have been warned. The Empire will arrive within days. Prepare yourselves." All over the world, people froze. Some were in disbelief, some were terrified, and others tried to make sense of it. The leaders of Earth quickly began to gather, unsure of how to react. What did it mean? Who were these people? What did they want with Earth? The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every nation gathered, trying to make sense of the strange warning. Some leaders argued that they should show peace, that Earth had no chance against such powerful beings. Others were determined to fight. The discussions were heated, but no one had any clear answers. The knowledge of this galactic empire was unknown to them, and there was no way to know what kind of power they were up against. In the chaos, a small group of military experts and scientists met in secret. Among them was General Amelia Grant, a leader known for her courage and quick thinking in times of crisis. She was a woman who believed in the power of humanity to overcome anything, no matter the odds. As the world's leaders continued their debate, Grant began to quietly form a plan. If the Galactic Empire truly existed, and they were as powerful as the message suggested, humanity would need to act fast. But if they underestimated Earth's people, it might be their biggest mistake. For the first time, Earth's leaders were forced to consider the idea of fighting an enemy beyond their wildest imagination. But would they be able to defend their home, or would this be the end of everything they knew? How's this? Does it fit your style? The world was in chaos after the transmission from the Galactic Empire. News stations played the message over and over, and millions of people around the globe sat in stunned silence. Governments were scrambling to make a decision, unsure of how to respond to a threat they barely understood. The United Nations quickly called for an emergency summit. The world's leaders, nervous and confused, gathered in a large hall. People whispered anxiously as they waited for the meeting to begin. No one knew how to react to something so strange and terrifying. The meeting began with speeches from world leaders, each one trying to calm their citizens and assure them that Earth could handle whatever came. But deep down, they all felt the weight of the unknown. What did the Empire mean by submit or perish? How could humanity ever be prepared for an alien threat that was already more advanced than anything Earth had ever seen? The room was divided. Some leaders argued that surrender might be the only way to save lives. They believed that Earth stood no chance against the might of the Empire. They urged the people to stay calm and prepare for peaceful negotiations. "We must show them that we are not enemies," one leader said. "Peace is our only hope." But other leaders disagreed. They couldn't imagine simply giving up. Earth was their home, and they wouldn't let anyone take it without a fight. "We cannot show weakness," General Amelia Grant said firmly. "If we give up now, we may never have the chance to fight back." She had been quiet throughout most of the meeting, but when she spoke, her words carried weight. Grant's speech lit a spark in many of the room's leaders. "We may not be as powerful as them, But we have something they don't, she continued. We have the will to fight for our planet. And I believe we can win. Her words were bold, but they gave Earth's leaders something to think about. A heated debate followed. Some nations pushed for peace, others for war. No one could agree on the right approach. As the debate raged on, General Grant quietly met with a group of military experts and scientists. She knew that Earth's military forces were no match for the Empire's might, but she wasn't ready to give up. In secret, she began to organize a team. Scientists and engineers were called together to work on something that could help Earth defend itself. They would focus on creating new weapons, new technologies, and new strategies that could challenge the Empire's power. The group worked day and night, knowing that time was running out. Meanwhile, Earth's militaries began to prepare. The soldiers trained harder than ever before, knowing they might be called to fight an enemy unlike anything they had ever seen. The world watched as humanity, once divided by borders and politics, began to unite against a common threat. Despite the fear and uncertainty, something incredible happened. People all over the world began to rise up. Ordinary citizens volunteered to help in any way they could, whether by supporting the soldiers, working in laboratories, or spreading hope to their neighbors. It was clear that humanity was not going to back down easily. The Galactic Empire may have sent a warning, but humanity had something far stronger than fear: the will to survive. Earth's leaders, despite their differences, began to realize that they had one thing in common: a determination to protect their home at all costs. And so the battle for Earth began, not with a grand declaration of war, but with a quiet, determined effort to fight back. Humanity was ready to face whatever the Empire threw their way. As the days passed, the Galactic Empire's ships drew closer to Earth. The massive warships, far beyond anything Earth's technology could match, loomed like dark clouds in the sky. The Empire wasn't here to talk. They were here to conquer. Their first message had been clear: submit or be destroyed. But Earth had prepared. While many countries still debated how to respond, General Amelia Grant and her team had already begun planning their first strike. Earth's military might have been small compared to the Empire's, but they had something the Empire didn't expect: determination. The world's scientists and engineers had worked tirelessly, building new weapons using scraps of the alien technology they had captured. The first weapon created was a hybrid laser cannon, capable of piercing the outer shields of the Empire's ships. It wasn't perfect, but it was their first hope. The night before the strike, General Grant stood in the command center, staring at the large holographic map of Earth and the approaching Empire fleet. "Tomorrow, we fight," she said quietly to her team. The soldiers were nervous but determined. It was their chance to send a message. The attack was planned carefully. They would launch a surprise strike from Earth's largest space station, a military base orbiting just outside the Earth's atmosphere. The Empire fleet was still over a day away from entering Earth's orbit, so it was the perfect moment. At dawn, a small fleet of human fighter ships, outfitted with the new weapons, launched from the space station. The plan was simple: sneak close to one of the Empire's ships, fire the new laser cannon, and return to the station before the Empire could react. It was a bold plan, risky, and the human ships were outnumbered. But if it worked, it could buy Earth more time to prepare. The fighters glided silently through the vastness of space, each pilot focused on their mission. General Grant watched anxiously from the command center as the fleet approached the enemy. They were nearly in position when the first ship appeared in the distance, a massive warship, its surface gleaming coldly under the light of the distant sun. It was the Empire's flagship, and it was only a few kilometers away. The moment of truth arrived. "Ready, aim, fire." Grant's voice echoed in the command center as the laser cannon fired. The weapon shot out a bright beam, striking the flagship's shields. For a split second, nothing happened. Then, with a loud crash, the shields cracked. The laser punched through, hitting the ship's outer hull. The flagship shuddered, and a large explosion erupted from its side. For a brief moment, the Empire had been hurt. It wasn't enough to destroy the ship, but it was a victory. A small one, but a victory nonetheless. The human ships quickly turned to retreat, but the Empire's fleet was already responding. The Empire's warships fired back, launching powerful missiles and laser blasts. The human ships weaved in and out of the explosions, evading the attacks as best they could. The tension was high, and every pilot knew they might not make it back. One by one, the human fighters dodged and returned to the space station, but not without losses. A few ships were hit and destroyed, but the message was clear. Humanity wasn't going to give up without a fight. When the last ship landed safely back at the station, the room erupted in cheers. The Empire had felt the sting of their first defeat, and Earth had shown them that they were not to be underestimated. General Grant watched the battle unfold on the screen, a small smile on her face. They had succeeded. The first strike was a success, and the Empire knew that Earth wasn't going to back down easily. After the successful first strike, Earth's hope grew. The Empire may have been powerful, but the humans had shown they could strike back. However, General Amelia Grant knew that this was just the beginning. The fight against the Galactic Empire wouldn't be won with one successful attack. It would take much more: training, new weapons, and the strength to push forward. In the weeks that followed, the world's military forces began to reorganize and refocus. The attack had shown them that their current defenses weren't enough. To stand a chance against the Empire, humanity needed to train like never before and develop new technology to match the Empire's power. General Grant led the charge. She called for a global effort to prepare humanity for the war ahead. Military leaders from all over the world came together in secret meetings. They shared their strategies, built alliances, and formed a single unified force. The world's military now had one goal: to fight the Empire and protect Earth. One of the most important changes came in how soldiers were trained. For years, Earth's armies had fought in traditional battles on the ground, but now they needed to learn how to fight in space. The fight for Earth would not be fought just on the planet. It would be fought across the stars. The new training programs focused on space combat, operating advanced weapons, and surviving in the harsh environment of outer space. Young soldiers, many of whom had never even seen a spaceship before, began intensive training. They practiced maneuvers in zero gravity, simulated battles in space, and learned how to repair damaged ships in the vacuum of space. The training was tough, but the soldiers pushed through, knowing what was at stake. Every day, they grew stronger and more confident. Meanwhile, Earth's engineers and scientists worked day and night in secret laboratories. They studied the alien technology recovered from the Empire's ship after the first attack. They had learned how to use some of the technology, but it wasn't enough. They needed to develop their own weapons and defenses, ones that could give them a real chance against the Empire's superior technology. The scientists focused on creating more advanced energy weapons, stronger shields, and faster spacecraft. The goal was clear: create weapons that could challenge the Empire's massive warships and give Earth's fleet a fighting chance. While progress was slow, there were moments of hope. The first prototype of a new, faster starship was completed, and a new energy shield was tested on Earth's military bases. The results were promising, but the clock was ticking. The Empire's fleet was still coming. In addition to technology and weapons, General Grant knew that human strength would come from unity. She worked tirelessly to bring together nations, groups, and people from all walks of life. The war against the Empire would not just be a battle of guns and ships. It would be a battle of willpower. Earth's people needed to believe in each other and stand together, no matter their differences. And so, humanity's training intensified. Every soldier, scientist, and engineer worked toward one goal: victory. The training camps were filled with soldiers learning new skills, engineers creating the next generation of ships, and pilots preparing for the biggest fight of their lives. Earth had taken its first step, And now it was time to prepare for the real war. General Grant, standing before the soldiers in a crowded training hall, spoke with a voice full of resolve. "We will not be conquered. We will fight, and we will win. This is our planet, and no one will take it from us." Her words echoed in the hearts of every soldier, and they knew that the fight for Earth had only just begun. The war with the Galactic Empire was becoming more intense by the day. Despite all the training, technology, and weapons that Earth had developed, General Amelia Grant knew that humanity couldn't win this fight alone. The Empire was too powerful, and Earth's resources were limited. If humanity was going to stand a chance, they would need allies, especially from other races in the galaxy who had suffered under the Empire's rule. In secret, General Grant and her team reached out to other species who had fought against the Empire before. These groups, scattered across the stars, had heard of Earth's resistance and had watched from the shadows. Many of them had lost their homes, their families, or their freedom to the Empire's cruelty. They had seen how the Empire crushed any race that refused to bow down, and they wanted revenge. The first of these groups to make contact was the Tiverians, a highly intelligent and warrior-like species. They had been enslaved by the Empire for decades, their people forced to build weapons and ships for their captors. Their leader, Exalvar, had once been an Imperial commander before he fled, narrowly escaping with his life. He knew the Empire better than anyone. Exalvar reached out to General Grant, offering his knowledge and the support of the Tiverian people. He explained that the Empire was vulnerable, but they needed to act quickly. Exalvar shared the Empire's weaknesses, small gaps in their defense systems, outdated weapons on some of their ships, and certain areas that could be sabotage. He was a valuable ally, and with his help, Earth's chances of survival suddenly looked much better. But Exalvar wasn't the only ally Earth would gain. As the word spread about humanity's defiance, more and more oppressed alien races joined the cause. The Kynthians, a race of powerful telepaths, offered their help in battle. The Vork, a group of fierce fighters with unmatched agility, pledged their loyalty. Even the mysterious Ilothians, who had never spoken to another species in hundreds of years, sent their warriors to aid in the war. Slowly but surely, Earth's ragtag army of humans and alien allies was taking shape. The leaders of these different species gathered in secret, forming an alliance that would rival the might of the Galactic Empire. General Grant was humbled by their support. "Together, we will break the Empire's grip on the galaxy," she said during one of their meetings. "We are not alone. We are stronger than they ever imagined." As the alliance grew, so did Earth's ability to fight. Alien technology began to flow into Earth's military forces, improving weapons and ships. The Tiverians shared their advanced energy weapons. The Kynthians taught human soldiers how to use telepathic communication in battle, and the Vork trained Earth's forces in close-quarters combat. Humanity, once alone in the fight, now had the strength of many races behind them. The alliance was not without its challenges, though. Different species had different ways of thinking, different customs, and sometimes different goals. Tensions ran high at times, but the common enemy, the Galactic Empire, was a reminder of what was at stake. The alliance worked together, putting their differences aside for the good of the galaxy. General Grant stood in the command center, watching as the alliance prepared for the next phase of the war. The Empire's fleet was drawing closer, and Earth's forces were ready. The Empire had underestimated the power of unity. With the help of their new allies, humanity was no longer alone. Together, they would fight back. The time had come. The Galactic Empire was no longer just a distant threat. They were here, in Earth's orbit, ready to strike. Earth's forces, now stronger and united with their new allies, had made their preparations. General Amelia Grant stood at the head of the command center, her eyes fixed on the large holographic map of the solar system. The Empire's fleet was huge, but Earth's army had something they hadn't counted on: unity and determination. "Today, we fight for our world," General Grant said, her voice steady, and full of resolve. We fight for our freedom. We fight for our future. The battle began with a massive wave of fire. The Empire's warships launched hundreds of missiles toward Earth's space stations and defense fleets. The missiles sped through the cold vacuum of space, their targets clearly marked. Earth's fleet was ready. Fighter jets, starships, and alien warships launched from the planet's surface, dodging the incoming attack. The first few minutes were chaos. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as missiles collided with shields, some breaking through and causing damage to Earth's defenses. The air was tense with the sound of laser fire and the roar of fighter ships. General Grant's voice rang through the command center, guiding Earth's forces as they fought back with everything they had. The Tuvarian ships, with their advanced weaponry, led the charge, firing powerful energy beams that tore through the Empire's defenses. The Kynthian ships used their telepathic abilities to predict enemy movements, dodging incoming fire with ease. The Vork, agile and swift, danced through the enemy fleet, launching precise strikes that took out smaller Imperial vessels. On the ground, Earth's soldiers prepared for a possible invasion. The Empire had already begun deploying their forces, sending dropships to Earth's surface. The streets of major cities began to fill with the sounds of marching Imperial soldiers, their boots heavy on the ground. But Earth's soldiers were ready. They knew the Empire's tactics, and they had planned for this moment. In the chaos of battle, a small group of Earth's best soldiers and alien allies infiltrated an Imperial command ship. Their mission was simple: disable the Empire's communication systems, making it harder for the fleet to coordinate attacks. It was dangerous, and many knew they wouldn't make it out, but they were willing to risk everything for Earth's survival. Back in space, General Grant led a daring assault on the Empire's flagship. Earth's fleet, working together with their alien allies, launched a coordinated attack on the massive ship. The flagship, once thought to be unbeatable, now found itself under heavy fire from all sides. Earth's forces fired their new laser weapons, hitting weak points in the ship's hull. The Empire's defenses were strong, but not strong enough. Hours passed, and the battle raged on. Slowly but surely, Earth's forces pushed back the Empire's ships. The Empire had underestimated the strength of the Alliance, and now they were feeling the consequences. The tide was turning. The Empire's ships were falling, one by one. As the last Imperial ship was destroyed, a cheer erupted in the command center. The battle had been long and hard, but Earth and its allies had won. The Empire had been defeated in the first major battle of the war. General Grant stood in front of the map, looking at the wreckage of the Empire's fleet floating in space. It wasn't over. The Empire would regroup and come back stronger. But for now, Earth had won. And the galaxy had seen that humanity was not to be underestimated. "We've taken the first step," General Grant said, her voice filled with pride. But the war is far from over. After Earth's victory in the first major battle, the galaxy breathed a collective sigh of relief. For the first time, humanity had shown the Empire that they were not powerless. The victory lifted the spirits of Earth's people and their allies, but General Amelia Grant knew that the war was far from over. The Galactic Empire was not a force that would simply give up. They would retaliate with everything they had. And that retaliation came faster than anyone expected. Weeks after the battle, Earth's forces were still celebrating their success when the Empire launched their counterattack. This time, they came with overwhelming force. The Empire's fleet had regrouped and reinforced, and they had learned from their previous mistakes. The Empire's ships were bigger, stronger, and better prepared. Earth's defenses, although stronger than before, were not enough to stop the oncoming storm. The first sign of trouble came when Earth's radar picked up the movement of a massive Imperial fleet, much larger than the one they had faced before. General Grant's team quickly moved to prepare their forces for the worst. Fighters scrambled into the sky, and ships launched into space, ready for another fight. But this time, there was no surprise. The Empire was ready. As the first wave of Imperial ships entered Earth's orbit, they unleashed a devastating barrage of firepower. The massive ships fired powerful energy blasts that struck Earth's defenses with brutal force. Shields flickered, but they were not strong enough to hold up against the Empire's weapons. The first wave of human fighters was quickly overwhelmed, their ships destroyed before they even had a chance to engage. General Grant watched the destruction unfold from the command center. Her heart pounded as she saw her fleet being torn apart. It was clear that the Empire had come with everything they had. But Earth wasn't ready to give up. "We can't let them break us," General Grant said, her voice firm. "Prepare to launch the second wave. We fight back, no matter the cost." Her words were a rallying cry for Earth's forces. Despite the heavy losses, soldiers and pilots did not retreat. They pushed forward, launching wave after wave of attacks on the Empire's fleet. Earth's fighters dove through the smoke and fire, dodging blasts and returning fire with everything they had. They were outnumbered, but they were not afraid. They fought with everything they could, knowing that their planet's future was at stake. On the ground, Earth's soldiers were preparing for the worst. The Empire had already begun landing troops on the surface, their dropships descending through the clouds. The streets of Earth's cities became battlegrounds as Imperial soldiers clashed with Earth's defenders. The battle was fierce, but humanity's will to fight was stronger than ever. The Tuvarian, Kynthian, and Vork forces stood alongside Earth's soldiers, their weapons firing in perfect unison. The alliance had grown even stronger since the first battle, and now their combined strength was pushing back the Empire's forces. It was clear that the Empire's shock tactics weren't working this time. Earth's resistance was stronger, and the Empire was starting to feel it. In space, General Grant's fleet had been nearly destroyed, but she refused to give in. "We can do this," she said to her commanders. "We've fought through worse. We'll fight through this." With new determination, Earth's forces regrouped. The Empire may have been stronger, but humanity had something they didn't: a burning desire to protect their home. And with that, the war for Earth raged on. The war for Earth had reached its breaking point. The Galactic Empire had thrown everything they had at the planet, but humanity had refused to back down. General Amelia Grant and her team had led Earth's forces through unimaginable battles, and the cost had been high. Entire cities had fallen, many soldiers had died, and Earth's military was battered. But the fight wasn't over yet. The Empire had made one final push. Their fleet, now reinforced with the best technology the galaxy had to offer, arrived in Earth's orbit. The Empire's flagship, a colossal ship that dwarfed anything Earth had ever seen, led the charge. It was their last attempt to crush humanity's will to fight and bring Earth to its knees. The Empire thought they could win, but they didn't understand humanity's true strength. In the command center, General Grant stared at the holographic map of Earth and the surrounding space. She could see the massive Imperial fleet gathering, ready to strike. The air was thick with tension, but there was no fear in her eyes. She had seen humanity rise to the occasion time and time again. They weren't going to stop now. "We're not going to let them win," General Grant said, her voice steady. "This is our home, and we will fight to protect it." The final battle was about to begin. Earth's forces were not as strong as the Empire's, but they had the power of unity behind them. The Tuvarian, Kynthian, and Vork forces had joined the humans once again, their ships ready for one last push. And now, Earth's new weapons, developed with the help of their alien allies, were ready to be used. The battle started with a thunderous roar as the Empire's fleet opened fire. Massive energy beams slammed into Earth's defenses, sending shockwaves through the planet's atmosphere. Human and alien ships launched into space, dodging incoming blasts and returning fire. It was a fight for survival, a battle for the future of Earth. In space, Earth's forces fought with everything they had. The Tuvarians led the charge, their ships blasting through the Imperial fleet's defenses. The Kynthians used their telepathic abilities to warn of incoming attacks, allowing Earth's ships to dodge with precision. The Vork, agile and deadly, flew through the chaos, launching strikes against the Empire's warships. Earth's fighters were outnumbered, but they fought like they had nothing to lose. On the ground, the Empire's forces had landed. Soldiers in heavy armor marched through the streets, pushing toward key locations across Earth's cities. But Earth's soldiers were ready. The battle on the surface was brutal, with explosions tearing through the streets and the sky filled with smoke. But humanity held its ground. They refused to surrender. As the battle raged on, General Grant made her move. She ordered a strike on the Empire's flagship, hoping to disable it and end the war once and for all. A small fleet of Earth's most skilled pilots, including fighters from their alien allies, was sent on a suicide mission to reach the flagship and destroy its control center. It was a dangerous mission, but there was no other choice. The strike team fought their way through the Empire's fleet, their ships dodging lasers and missiles. They reached the flagship, and with one final push, they fired the powerful laser cannon that had been developed by Earth's engineers. The blast hit the flagship's main reactor, causing a massive explosion that sent shockwaves through the Empire's fleet. The Empire's ships faltered. Their command center was destroyed, and their fleet scattered in confusion. Earth's forces took advantage of the chaos, launching a final attack that broke the Empire's hold on the galaxy. The battle was won. When the smoke cleared, Earth stood victorious. The Galactic Empire had been defeated, and humanity had proven that they would not be easily conquered. The people of Earth, united with their alien allies, had fought and won against the greatest power in the galaxy. General Grant stood amidst the wreckage, watching as the last of the Empire's ships were destroyed. She knew the war was over, but the fight for Earth's future would never truly end. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they could fight back, and they would continue to protect their home, no matter the cost. "We've won," General Grant said, her voice full of pride. "But this is just the beginning."